Is this how you talk to your mother-in-law? Elizabeth snapped, stepping forward angrily. From the very first day my son married you, I knew you were not useful. I don't care if you're my mother-in-law, Ruth fired back, raising her voice. You always come here for holiday, you always bring problems every single time. I deserve peace in my own home. This is my son's house, Elizabeth shouted. You forget that you are living under his roof. And you forget that he is my husband, Ruth said, breathing hard. You don't own this house more than I do. Your visits turn everything into a war. Elizabeth pointed a shaking finger. You have no respect. Ruth stepped closer. If you want full control so badly, maybe you should just marry your son, so you won't have problems with me. Silence hit the room instantly. Elizabeth's eyes widened in shock. What did you just say? She whispered, furious. Ruth didn't back down. I'm tired of suffering in silence. I won't let you crush me anymore. Elizabeth stared at her, speechless, anger boiling, hands trembling. The argument echoed through the living room as Elizabeth and Ruth faced each other, both furious, voices shaking the walls. In the middle of their heated exchange, the front door opened and Michael stepped inside, still holding his work bag, shocked by the chaos. Michael stared between them, confused. What is happening here? Elizabeth immediately turned toward him dramatically. Michael, your wife has finished me today. She raised her hand and slapped me. Look at how she's treating me in my own son's house. Ruth quickly faced Michael, desperate. Michael, please listen. I never touched her. We were just arguing. She's lying. I didn't slap her, I swear. Elizabeth cried loudly, placing her hand on her cheek. Ah, you see? After beating me, she is denying it. Michael, I have suffered. Ruth shouted back, voice cracking. Michael, don't listen to her. She is twisting everything again just like she always does. I didn't lay a finger on her. Michael closed his eyes for a second, breathing heavily. He had seen this many times. His mother always turned every situation upside down, always taking advantage of emotion, always trying to control everything around him. He knew her pattern too well. Mom, he said firmly, opening his eyes. I know you. You twist matters. You turn small things into big problems. I do not believe Ruth would ever hit you. Elizabeth froze, shocked. So you're saying I'm lying? You are choosing her over me? After I carried you in my womb for 9 months? Michael tried to speak calmly. Mom, please stop. I trust my wife. I know what she can and cannot do. And I know how you react when things don't go your way. Elizabeth pointed at Ruth angrily. So now she has taken my place, right? She controls you now? Because of her, you disrespect me, your own mother. Ruth shook her head slowly, tears building. No, Mom, I'm not trying to take your place. I just want peace. Why do you hate me so much? Elizabeth hissed, stepping closer. Because you stole my son. You came into his life and turned him against me. Michael stepped between them, raising his voice. Enough! No more shouting in this house. We will settle this respectfully. Mom, please sit down. Elizabeth wiped her tears angrily. You better do something now, Michael, or you will regret it. Michael rubbed his forehead and turned to Ruth. Please, just go to the room. We'll talk later. Ruth looked at him silently, hurt, but she obeyed. Without another word, she walked away and went into their bedroom, closing the door gently behind her. Inside the room, she sank on the bed, breathing heavily. After a moment, she picked up her phone and dialed her mother, Mary. Mom, she started again, Ruth said, her voice shaking. Elizabeth is causing trouble. She lied that I slapped her. Michael came in and everything changed. Mary's voice came sharply from the other end. I warned you from day one. I told you that your husband's mother is a tough woman. Now you can see it with your own eyes. Ruth wiped her tears. Mom, I've tried. I always keep quiet. I avoid problems. I treat her with respect. I don't know what else she wants from me. Mary replied with a low, angry tone. Don't worry. If she thinks she is tough, she hasn't met me yet. I, Mary, am tougher. It's only a matter of time. She will know who she's dealing with. Ruth sighed. Mom, I don't want this fight. I just want peace in my marriage. Mary responded, Peace? Elizabeth doesn't want peace. She wants war. But I promise you, she won't win. And don't forget, you must come home this weekend. We need to talk face to face. Okay, Mom, I'll come, Ruth whispered. Mary's voice softened but carried strength. Stand firm, my daughter. This is only the beginning, but you will overcome. The call ended. Ruth lowered the phone slowly, staring at the ceiling as tears gathered in her eyes. Pain, anger, and courage mixed inside her. She knew she had to stay strong. Michael sat in the parlor beside his mother, breathing heavily from the tension. Mom, please. Calm down, he said gently. Ruth is like a daughter to you. We can handle this without fights and shouting. I don't understand why you're taking this matter so seriously. Elizabeth wiped her fake tears and shook her head sharply. Even God knows I can never accept such a woman as my daughter, she snapped. Your wife is a bad luck. 6 years of marriage, Michael. 6 years. Still no child. Is this how you want to live? I want to see my grandchild before I close my eyes forever. Michael rubbed his forehead tiredly. Mom, please. Ruth is trying. We are trying. I'll do something about everything, I promise. Elizabeth stood up with anger. That is all you keep saying, she shouted. Every time, I will do something. I will do something. You better wake up and actually do something. Before your life is ruined. If you don't act now, don't blame me for whatever happens. Michael's face fell. He stared at the floor, defeated and torn between his mother and his wife. Elizabeth stood up and headed toward the door. You better fix your home, Michael. I refuse to watch my son's life destroy for nothing. She walked out, slamming the door so hard the frame shook. Michael remained still, silence filling the room, his heart heavy, the storm far from over. A few days later, Ruth packed a small bag and left Michael's house. She arrived at her mother, Mary's place, looking exhausted and emotionally drained. Mary opened the door and hugged her tightly. My daughter, what happened again? Ruth wiped her face. Mom, ever since Elizabeth came for holiday, she has been stressing my life. She lied against me. She caused problems between me and Michael. She insulted me and I'm tired. I just needed space. Mary's face hardened. So Michael cannot talk to his mother? He just watches you suffer? No, I don't like that. I will come there myself soon. I will correct everything. That woman is wrong. Ruth nodded slowly. Mom, I just want peace. Suddenly Ruth's phone rang. She looked at the screen and hesitated. It's John, she whispered. Mary raised an eyebrow. Pick it, he cares about you. John was a wealthy businessman who openly showed interest in Ruth even though she was married to Michael. Ruth still communicated with him secretly, and Mary knew about it. Ruth answered the call. Hello, John? John's voice came warm and concerned. Ruth, I've been trying to reach you. Where are you? I'm at my mother's place. Mary stretched her hand and Ruth passed the phone to her. Mary greeted him. John, good afternoon. John's voice came calmly through the phone. Auntie Mary, good afternoon. Mary smiled slightly and greeted back. Good afternoon, my son. How are you? I'm fine, Auntie, John replied. How is everything over there? Mary sighed. We're managing, my son. Thank you. There was a brief pause, then John continued gently. Auntie Mary, please, keep helping me talk to Ruth. You know how much I care about her. I just want her to be happy no matter what. I believe you understand what I mean. Mary nodded slowly. I understand, John. Don't worry, I will keep talking to her. Thank you, Auntie, John said with relief. I'll send $10,000 to you today. Just help me manage it. Mary gasped with joy. Ah, $10,000? God bless you, my son. After a few moments of conversation, John ended the call. Mary looked at Ruth, eyes wide. Did you just hear that? He's sending $10,000. Ruth's eyes lit up. Wow, that's really nice of him. She laughed softly. But Mom, you better give me my share too. Mary chuckled, shaking her head. Honestly, after 6 years of marriage and no child, I know nothing is wrong with you, my daughter. You're healthy, capable. It's not you. But still, I don't see any advantage in this marriage. Even your husband. When last did he do anything for me as an in-law? You better think carefully about what's happening. Ruth smiled faintly, still hopeful. Mom, I still love Michael. I just wish things were different and maybe we can still make it work. Mary's expression softened but stayed firm. I understand, dear. But now, every day, you're facing problems with his mother. You need to think carefully and quickly about what you want. Don't let this drag on. Ruth sat back, tension and hope mingling in her eyes, while Mary watched silently, knowing tough decisions awaited, but a spark of courage and resolve glimmered within. Mary later spoke seriously with Michael about the pain Ruth had been facing. From that day, Michael's attitude changed completely. He had always protected Ruth before, but now he became even stronger in defending her. He warned his mother, Elizabeth, firmly not to cause trouble or disrespect his wife again. Michael stood by Ruth like a shield, determined to keep peace in their home and protect the woman he loved. One evening, Elizabeth did the unthinkable. The house felt heavy with tension as Michael returned from work. Ruth stepped out of the kitchen with a warm smile, carrying a tray of freshly prepared food. Welcome, my husband. You must be tired. Come and eat, please. Michael managed a small smile, trying to shake off the stress. Thank you, Ruth. I really need this. He moved toward the dining table and was just about to sit when Elizabeth suddenly walked in from the kitchen doorway, holding her own pot of food wrapped in a clean towel. Elizabeth raised her voice happily, but sharply. "Michael, my son, come. I have cooked a delicious meal for you. Leave whatever is on that table and come eat food your mother prepared with love." Ruth looked at her in disbelief. "Elizabeth, can't you see I already cooked for him? He just got home. The food is already served." Elizabeth's face twisted in irritation. "That useless food of yours? That tasteless thing you always serve?" She laughed mockingly. "Do you want to poison my son? You want to destroy my child with your nonsense cooking?" Ruth stepped back in shock. "What? Poison? How could you say such a thing?" Elizabeth ignored her completely and grabbed Michael's hand. "Come, let us eat real food. I cooked for my son myself. She doesn't even know how to cook ordinary rice properly." Ruth pulled Michael's other hand, her voice shaking. "Michael, sit down and eat your food. I worked hard preparing it." Elizabeth's anger exploded. She marched to the dining table, lifted the plate Ruth had set before Michael, and smashed it onto the floor. Porcelain shattered everywhere, food splattering across the tiles. The loud crash echoed through the house. Michael froze in shock. Ruth gasped, pressing both hands against her chest. Elizabeth shouted loudly, eyes burning with rage. "I will never allow useless food to poison my son. Not while I am alive. Nothing she does is ever good enough. Not her food, not her behavior. Nothing." Ruth trembled, tears filling her eyes. "What have I done to you, Elizabeth? Why do you hate me so much?" Elizabeth pointed at her with trembling hands. "You are the reason my son is suffering. 6 years in marriage, no child. You think I will sit and watch my son grow old with nothing? I will not." Ruth stared in silence, unable to speak. Elizabeth turned to Michael again. "So you refuse to eat my food because of her? You choose her over your own mother?" Michael swallowed hard, pain and frustration mixing in his eyes. "Mom, please stop. This is too much. You can't keep doing this." Elizabeth's voice broke into anger and heartbreak. "Fine. Since you are choosing her, eat your rubbish food. I am done." She stormed out of the dining room, slamming her door. The house fell painfully quiet. Ruth looked at Michael, tears streaming. "You see, Michael, your mother is always the problem." Michael walked to her and gently held her hands. "Please, Ruth, be patient. Her holiday will soon end. She will go." Ruth wiped her face gently, hoping for calm. Michael stood between them, determined. In that quiet moment, everyone realized something had to change, or everything would fall apart. The next morning, Ruth quietly stepped out of the house, needing fresh air and a moment to think. She took a taxi and arrived at John's place a short while later. John opened the gate, a bright smile on his face. "Ruth, it's been so long. How are you? How's Michael? And how's your family?" Ruth returned his smile, though a bit tired. "I'm doing okay, John. Michael is fine and my family as well." "Thank you for asking." John ushered her inside. "And your business? Is it going smoothly?" Ruth nodded. "It's managing. A few challenges here and there, but it's stable." They moved to the living room, sitting opposite each other. The calm room carried a weight of unspoken tension. John leaned forward, voice soft but firm. "Ruth, the last time I spoke to Mary, she sounded troubled. She said your mother-in-law has been making her life very hard." Ruth's expression darkened. "Yes, John, every day it's something new. Elizabeth twists everything to make Mary seem guilty, even over the smallest things." John's eyes narrowed thoughtfully. "Marriage should bring peace, not pain. I can understand why Mary feels so frustrated." He paused, then added carefully, "Ruth, it's been 6 years since you married Michael, and still no child. Are you certain Michael is capable? Are you sure Michael is capable? Time isn't waiting for anyone, and women have limit. Ruth before you get to menopause, unsure what to say, her hands clutching her skirt. John continued, leaning closer. "You need to think carefully. What if Michael's family is already planning for another wife? You know how families react when there's no child. Maybe fate meant us to be together." Ruth lifted her eyes slowly. "John, I know, but I love Michael. I can't betray him like that." John exhaled, concern etched across his face. "Love is good, but reality is stronger. I care about you, Ruth. I only want the best for you. Think carefully before it's too late." Ruth nodded, silence filling the room for a moment. After some more discussion, John stood. "I should drive you back. You need to rest and be safe." They walked to his car, and John drove Ruth back to her neighborhood. The car stopped in front of Michael's house. Ruth stepped out quietly. Elizabeth stood by the window, eyes narrowed, a cruel smile on her lips. "So Ruth has been meeting another man. Behind Michael's back? Perfect. This gives me leverage." Ruth entered and greeted her gently. "Good afternoon, Ma." Elizabeth didn't respond. Ruth tried again, "Ma," but Elizabeth ignored her and turned away with a bitter smirk. Ruth, sensing the tension, walked silently to her room. Ruth stood by her door, taking a deep breath, letting John's words guide her calm resolve, ready to face whatever came next. That evening, as Michael returned from work, he placed his bag on the couch and stretched his neck tiredly. Before he could sit, Elizabeth stepped forward, her tone sharp. "Michael, I need to talk to you immediately." Michael sighed. "Mom, what is it again?" Elizabeth folded her arms tightly. "Today, I saw Mary coming down from another man's car right in front of this house. A man dropped her. She's already cheating on you." Michael blinked in disbelief. "Cheating? Mom, what are you saying?" Elizabeth raised her voice slightly. "Yes, I saw it with my eyes. She was with him. And you are here defending her? You don't know what she's capable of. Since 6 years now, no child. Maybe she's been seeing someone outside." Michael shook his head. "Mom, that's enough. I know Mary. She would never do such a thing. I trust my wife." Elizabeth clicked her tongue angrily. "So you're choosing a woman over your own mother? You better open your eyes. Wise men don't ignore signs." Michael stepped back, frustrated. "Mom, you're trying to create problems where there are none. I believe Mary. Nothing you say will change that." Elizabeth stared at him, speechless for a moment, then turned away with a loud hiss, muttering under her breath. Michael stood in silence, breathing heavily, torn between anger and sadness. Weight settled on his shoulders. He had no idea how heavy things were about to become. After many weeks passed, the family of Richard was invited to a grand party. On the afternoon of the event, everyone prepared with excitement. Ruth and Michael stepped out into the compound, heading to the car to leave for the party. Michael stood beside the driver's side, ready to open the door. Before anything happened, Elizabeth rushed quickly to the front passenger side and held the handle as if she owned it. Ruth paused and spoke calmly. "You know this is my husband's car, and as his wife, I am supposed to sit in the front seat. You, as the mother, are meant to sit at the back." Elizabeth turned sharply and replied with a raised voice. "In my son's car? Me, sit at the back? Never. I am sitting in the front seat. You go to the back." Ruth took a deep breath, holding back the pain rising in her chest. Michael looked confused and helpless, watching both of them. "Please," he said quietly, "we are going to a party. Not to create embarrassment." Elizabeth folded her arms sharply. If she can't sit at the back seat, then she's not ready to enter this car. Ruth stepped forward, voice steady but breaking inside. "If Elizabeth does not allow me to sit in the front seat, I would rather not go with you." Michael rubbed his forehead in frustration. "Okay, fine. Mom, please, just go to the back seat and let Ruth sit in the front. We are getting late." Elizabeth shouted immediately. "Never, never. I will never sit in that back seat. She should go and sit there." Michael stood silently for a moment, exhausted and torn between them. They were already running out of time, and pressure wrapped tightly around him. "We need to move," Elizabeth said, stepping into the front seat. "Michael, let's go. She's not ready yet. Before we get late." Michael hesitated, then slowly entered the car, closing the door without another word. The engine started and the car drove off, leaving Ruth standing alone in the compound. Tears slipped quietly down her face as the sound of the engine faded into the distance. Ruth wiped her tears carefully, trying to calm herself. She reached into her purse, pulled out her phone, and quickly ordered an Uber. A few minutes later, a car stopped at the gate. The driver rolled down the window. "Are you Ruth?" "Yes," she replied quietly, forcing a small smile as she entered the back seat. The car began to move. Bright daylight streamed through the window, but her eyes were still filled with tears. The highway was bright and busy that afternoon, cars gliding smoothly beneath the warm sun. Ruth sat quietly in the back of the Uber, hands locked together, trying to calm the storm of emotions inside her. She replayed John's words again and again, wondering how everything had gone so wrong. Suddenly the peace shattered. Tires screeched across the asphalt. The Uber driver jerked the steering wheel sharply. "Hold on," he shouted. A large truck swerved into their lane, spinning wildly. Ruth gasped as the world twisted, metal crashed, and glass burst like breaking ice. In a flash, everything went silent and dark. Moments later, voices echoed around her in panic. "Somebody help! Call the ambulance, quick!" Paramedics arrived, lifting Ruth gently onto a stretcher. "She's breathing, but unconscious," one said firmly. "She needs urgent care." The ambulance siren wailed as it sped away, carrying her toward the hospital, leaving fear and uncertainty behind. Ruth was rushed into the hospital, emergency staff working quickly to stabilize her. Soon after, a nurse stepped out and called her mother. Moments later, her mother arrived, rushing to her side with a mixture of fear and anger. "Unbelievable!" she exclaimed, gripping Ruth's hand. "So Elizabeth did this to you again, right?" Ruth nodded weakly, tears in her eyes. "Yes, Mom. She caused everything." Her mother's face hardened, eyes blazing. "This is the last time. You are not going back to that house. You are not marrying Michael again. I don't know what Elizabeth will do next. Maybe it could end you entirely." Ruth's voice trembled. "But Mom, I still want to stay with Michael. I still love him." Her mother shook her head, stepping back, horrified. "So because of love, you're willing to risk your life? Did you think what could have happened today? What if you never opened your eyes again? People would say you lost your life for one man. Is that what you want?" Ruth lowered her eyes, silent as her mother added, "Firm but tender, love should protect you, not destroy you." As their conversation continued, the hospital doors swung open. Michael and Elizabeth stepped in, concern written across Michael's face. He rushed toward Ruth's bed, eyes wide. "Ruth, what happened to you? I heard you had an accident," he exclaimed, grabbing her hand. Mary stepped forward, voice firm and angry, facing Elizabeth directly. "The accident. You caused it, Elizabeth. Do you see what you've done? You wanted to end my daughter's life." Elizabeth's face twisted, her voice sharp. "I am not the cause of your daughter's accident. She was stubborn. Don't blame me for that." She stepped closer, her anger radiating. "Then who should I blame?" Mary shot back, voice trembling but unwavering. Michael stepped between them, hands raised. "Enough, look at her. She's lying on a hospital bed. This is not the time for quarrels." Mary turned to Michael, eyes blazing. "Hear this and hear it clearly. From today, Ruth is no longer your wife, Michael. I will not watch you destroy my daughter's life. She will not marry you again." Michael's face paled, panic and pleading mixing in his eyes. He stepped closer to Mary. "Please, I won't let anything happen to her again. This is the last time. Just give me one last chance." Mary shook her head, her voice cold but steady. Michael turned to Ruth, desperation in his tone. "Ruth, please. Help me. Beg your mother. Please." And Mary warned them that if they did not leave immediately, she would call the doctor. But as for Elizabeth, she didn't even say a word or to beg Mary. Ruth, still in pain, tears running freely down her cheeks, remained silent. Her body shook, her voice failing her. Michael's shoulders slumped as he realized Mary would not yield. He gave one last pleading glance to Ruth, then to Mary. Elizabeth, angry and frustrated, made no effort to apologize. Together they left the hospital, leaving Ruth and Mary behind. Ruth lay back on the bed, exhausted, tears streaking her face as Mary quietly sat beside her. The hospital room was silent except for their soft breaths, the weight of their loss and determination pressing heavily around them. The battle for Ruth's life and love had only just reached a terrifying turning point. Few days later, Mary and Ruth returned home after Ruth was discharged from the hospital. They sat quietly in the living room, the weight of recent events hanging heavily in the air. Mary reached for Ruth's hand, her voice steady and determined. "Ruth, listen to me carefully. I will personally follow you to pack your things. You are not going back to that house again. I will not watch you risk your life in the name of marriage." Tears gathered in Ruth's eyes as she shook her head slightly, voice trembling. "Mom, I can't just leave Michael like that. I love him. I don't want to walk away." Mary leaned closer, her tone firm but filled with emotion. "Ruth, open your eyes. Love is not supposed to destroy you. Look at what almost happened. What if you never woke up? What if that accident ended your life? For what? A man whose mother wants to see you suffer?" Ruth looked down, silent and shaking. Mary continued gently but seriously. "You still have an option. John loves you, respects you, and is ready to give you peace. You better choose wisely. Ruth, choose John and start a new life. A life without fear, without pain." Ruth wiped her tears slowly, her voice barely above a whisper. I don't know, Mom. I need time." Mary nodded, but her voice remained firm. "In a few days we go there to pack your things. Think deeply before then." The room fell silent. The decision ahead could change everything. But would Michael allow them? After a few days, Ruth and Mary arrived quietly at the gate, determination written on Mary's face, sadness trembling in Ruth's eyes. They walked into the compound, and Mary knocked firmly on the door. Michael opened it, shocked and breathless the moment he saw Ruth. "Thank God. You're here. Please come inside. You are welcome home. Ruth, please talk to me." He reached for her hand, but Mary stepped in between them. "We didn't come here to talk," Mary said coldly. "We came to pack her things." Michael froze, pain tightening in his voice. "Please, Ma, don't do this. Ruth is my wife. I know mistakes were made, but please don't separate us. I love her." Ruth looked away, tears already forming. Just then, Elizabeth walked down the stairs with a mocking smile. "Michael, leave her." "Let her go," she said sharply. "If she wants to go, let her. I will get you another beautiful wife, a woman with good manners and respect, not someone who thinks she owns this house." Mary turned to her immediately, anger burning in her eyes. "Elizabeth, you have done enough damage. You nearly destroyed my daughter's life. You don't deserve to even speak about marriage." Elizabeth folded her arms proudly. "Your daughter is weak. She can't even give my son a child. 6 years and nothing. What is she still doing here? She should leave." Ruth burst into tears, voice shaking. "What did I ever do to you? Why do you hate me so much? I love this family. I tried." Elizabeth scoffed. "Love isn't enough. A wife with no child is useless." Michael stepped closer to his mother, frustration exploding. "Mom, stop! You're going too far. Ruth is my wife. I chose her. I love her. You can't control my life," Elizabeth snapped back. "You will thank me later when she's gone." Ruth wiped her face, voice breaking as she turned to Michael. "Michael, I fought so hard, but I can't keep dying inside. I can't fight your mother forever." Ruth walked into her room and parked all her belongings. Michael dropped to his knees, crying. "Ruth, please, don't go. I need you. Don't leave me." Mary held Ruth's hand tightly. "We are leaving, Michael. Good wives deserve peace." Elizabeth smirked and stepped aside proudly. Ruth picked up the last of her bags and looked at Michael one more time, tears streaming. "I'm sorry. Goodbye." Michael stood speechless, tears falling uncontrollably, watching helplessly as Mary and Ruth walked out of the house, leaving silence and heartbreak behind. 6 months passed. Ruth had fully recovered and now lived with John in his beautiful mansion. The evening sun poured warmly through the wide glass windows, painting the living room in gold. John stood before her, smiling with deep relief. "Thank God," he said softly. "Finally you are here. You are mine now, and nothing will take you away from me. I promise you, no one will separate us." Ruth smiled gently, her heart calm for the first time in years. John stepped closer, looking into her eyes. "And I assure you," he continued, "my mother will never give you problems like Michael's mom did." Ruth let out a small laugh and wiped a tear of joy. "You're funny, John. A ghost can't give me problems. I know you don't have a mother anymore, and even if she were alive, she could never trouble me the way Elizabeth did." John chuckled softly, shaking his head. Ruth held his hands firmly. "Thank you, John. Thank you for your love, your patience, and your support. I am grateful you accepted me when my world was falling apart. I promise you, together we will build a peaceful home and a happy family." John squeezed her hands, eyes glistening. They leaned close, resting foreheads together in silence, hearts steady and hopeful. Hand in hand, Ruth and John walked forward, ready to begin a new chapter, one filled with peace, respect and love stronger than pain. Meanwhile, far from Ruth and John's new beginning, Michael's world was falling apart. He had grown weak and pale. Days passed, and he barely left his bed. The once lively man now stared blankly at the ceiling, his heart drowning in silence. He had lost appetite, lost sleep, lost the woman he loved. Elizabeth quietly pushed his door open one afternoon, carrying a tray of warm food. "Michael," she called softly, forcing a smile. "My son, please eat something. You haven't eaten since morning." Michael slowly turned his face away, tears gathered in his eyes. "I don't want it, Mom." Elizabeth stepped closer, voice shaking. "Please, Michael, just eat a little." He sat up weakly, his voice breaking. "How do you expect me to eat, Mom? Ruth is gone. You pushed her away. You caused all of this." Elizabeth froze. Her hands trembled around the tray. Michael wiped tears angrily from his eyes. "I loved her. She was my life. And now she's gone forever because of you." For the first time, Elizabeth felt a sharp pain in her chest. Regret, deep and heavy. She lowered the tray to the floor and sank slowly beside the bed. "Michael, I didn't know. I didn't know it would be like this." Her voice cracked, tears slipping down her cheeks. She covered her face with both hands, whispering brokenly, "What have I done? I destroyed my son's happiness with my own hands." And in that moment, Elizabeth finally understood. The damage was already too deep to fix. A few weeks later, Michael finally gathered enough strength to step outside. He needed fresh air and hoped a quiet walk would ease his mind. He drove slowly to the supermarket nearby, moving weakly through the aisles, picking a few things. As he approached the exit, a familiar voice caught his ears. He turned, and his heart nearly stopped. "Ruth!" She stood near the entrance, holding a shopping bag. She looked healthy, calm. Different. Michael froze, unable to speak, then rushed forward. "Ruth!" he called, breath shaking. "This is you? How are you doing? I've been searching for you everywhere. I'm happy to see you again." He reached out as if to hold her hand, but before he could touch her, a firm voice interrupted. "Hello, young man. Who are you?" Michael turned to see John standing beside Ruth. Michael looked confused. "Who is this, Ruth?" Ruth swallowed, but her voice stayed steady. "This is my husband." Michael felt the ground shift under his feet. His lips trembled. John stepped forward calmly. "Please, young man, step back from someone's wife. She is already taken. You and your mother never valued her, but I do. And soon, in a few months, we will be having our wedding." The words hit Michael like thunder. His chest tightened painfully, tears burning his eyes. Ruth looked at him gently, not in anger but in finality. "Take care of yourself, Michael." And together, Ruth and John walked out of the supermarket, hand in hand, leaving. Michael standing motionless at the entrance. He watched them disappear into the distance, his heart breaking all over again. Tears streamed down his face uncontrollably. He drove home slowly, barely seeing the road through his tears. The moment he entered his room, he picked up his phone with trembling hands and called his mother, Elizabeth, who had left his Michael place back to her home after the holidays. "Mom," his voice cracked. "Ruth, she's married. She's gone. Forever." The other end fell silent. Then Elizabeth's broken voice whispered, "Michael, I'm so sorry. All of this is my fault." Michael dropped to his knees, sobbing. Elizabeth covered her face in deep regret, realizing her pride had destroyed everything. Her son's happiness. The house echoed with silence and sorrow, two hearts filled with regret. But too late to change anything. Years passed. Ruth and John built a peaceful home filled with love and respect. They were blessed with beautiful children, laughter filling their house each day. Ruth smiled, grateful she chose the man who valued her truly. Together they lived happily, far from the pain of the past. Never mistreat or look down on someone because of their background or situation. The person you despise today may become the one you wish you never lost tomorrow. Respect everyone. You don't know their true value until it's too late. Thank you so much for watching this story. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe for more amazing stories. See you in the next story.